Hello everyone, welcome to Been My Pleasure. My name is JC. Joining me today is my pixelated friend Nicole.
Hello.
And we've got a letter from a guest we're going to read to you. If you'd like to hear it, here it goes. Here we have a letter from a guest. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'd like to get your natural response before I address some of the things I noticed in it myself.
Of course.
Here we go. I was in a restaurant recently, and I told my server I was in a hurry. Despite telling them my steak took 15 minutes to be delivered! Exclamation point, exclamation point. The place wasn't very busy, maybe 2 or 3 tables per server. So what took my steak so long? A medium well steak should be ready faster, right? Nicole?
Again, as I've said before, a lot of guests don't understand exactly what it takes to have things approach your table. When you're having a steak that is medium or higher, it is genuinely going to take longer than if it is rare or medium rare. So I could see it taking 15 minutes for a steak. Obviously, it depends on the cut and the type, but it will take longer the higher you have it cooked. I don't say that every time you have a plate come out that's 15 minutes long. If it's a salad, obviously that's going to take a shorter amount of time. If it's something that's easy to make like mac and cheese, it's not going to take 15 minutes. But when you have a steak that could be a thick cut, you have to understand that being well or medium well is going to take longer.
All right, I did not mention that this letter also told me where they were at when this occurred, because it's a corporate brand name. It's a casual dining restaurant. There are 3 items on the letter itself that I feel need to be addressed for the guest who wrote this. Thank you very much for your letter. Let me explain it to you in part. Nicole, thank you very much. That was a pretty straightforward response. I told my server I was in a hurry. As a server, I would like very much to help you get out of the restaurant as quickly as you would like. Therefore, I would present your check as I dropped off the food so you would be able to pay it and leave as quickly as possible. There are certain things in the restaurant that a server has no control over. One of those things is the physics of cooking, which we just talked about.
But the server should explain that something such as a medium well or well steak will take longer.
Absolutely. When 2 to 3 guests, 2 to 3 tables per server is probably, let's say that there's on average 3 guests per table. So you're talking about 9 entrees per server, and there's probably 3 to 4 servers, so you're talking about 36 to 40 entrees that are being prepared simultaneously in the kitchen. Depending on how many chefs, cooks, line cooks, etc. are on, you're probably talking about 5 minutes just to kind of get your order prepared or started.
Very true.
Very true. Now, a steak in a casual dining experience, the steak is probably cut quarter thick. That's to say quarter inch imperial. Mm-hmm. And it's probably going to take I know a well done steak takes about 12 minutes. A medium well steak would probably take about 8 to 10 minutes. Plus the time it takes to actually get it into the queue and start cooking it. Because we don't want to, as much as we want to make sure you have a wonderful dining experience, we also want that same dining experience to be wonderful for the guests who come before and after your arrival and departure.
As well, to explain the process, if I was that server, when somebody says that they are in a hurry, the first thing you should tell them is how long everything is going to take. So of course, if it's a medium well or well done steak, you should let them know, okay, well, it's going to be about 10 minutes. On top of that, there is the minute from you going from the table to the computer and entering in the process, and the cook actually grabbing the ticket and knowing what they should cook. So it takes about 2 minutes for the steak to actually reach the grill. If you go to the computer directly from the table, which you should if the person says they're in a hurry for whatever reason. On top of that, you have a 10-minute long cooking process. Afterwards, they still have to plate it and set it up. You have to have it either expoed or you need to run it yourself, which is going to take another couple of minutes. So I could see this process reaching 15 to 18 minutes. Being a server, you should be aware of how long different things cook in the kitchen or how long it's going to take for it to hit a table. Always keep your customer informed. That is the best thing you could do for yourself, especially when they're in a hurry.
That's right. Time frames are something I've talked about in the past with other guests. But knowing how long things take to prepare in your kitchen is tantamount, especially if they're in a hurry, your guests are in a hurry. Knowing how long things take to prepare in the kitchen is nice to know, if for no other reason than you can coordinate the timing of service in general, so that you can pull appetizers just before entrees are ready, so there's no downtime between courses, or in some cases, I forgot what I was going to say. But yes, but if they're in a hurry specifically, you'll want to come back and keep giving them updates. All right, your steak's on the grill now. It'll probably take about 10 minutes. Your steak's been turned. It'll probably take another 3 to 5 minutes. Things of that nature, if you have time to do that. And this will tie into a segment we'll do later, tips for tips, where if you keep your guest informed, especially if they're in a hurry, this can turn into a wonderful gratuity for you at the back end if you stay on top of it and let them know what the timing is, because people in general, psychologically, like to know what's coming. If you give them brief updates, then in their head, you're working harder for them than if you just took the order and then 10 to 15 minutes later showed up with their entree.
Plus, they aren't as concerned because they know what is going on through every step of the process.
Yep. That's about it. So that's that. A medium well steak should be ready faster, right? Well, as we discussed, it really has to do with, you mentioned it would take 2 minutes for the steak to even hit the grill, and that's if nobody is in front of you. And
nobody else.
Yeah, if the chefs aren't working on a project, pulling a table together, a table's entrees for another table together at that time. There's a lot of multitasking that goes on in the kitchen, but there's still only so much you can do at a time.
And there's so much multitasking for your server, so you don't know if another table called them over right after you took that order, and they have to tend to another table. Maybe that table has questions, or they want to put in their order as well. So that's another few minutes, if not 5, that you're still standing at another table. 5 minutes that order hasn't been put in yet. And you have a steak that's going to take about 10 minutes anyways.
Right. All right, so for our guests, thank you very much for writing me this letter. I hope that explains it. To our servers, if you have a guest who's in a hurry, try to accommodate them by adjusting your service protocol. That's the best thing you can do, especially if you want a nice gratuity later. All right, well, I think that answers all of that. This has been a short one, but it's been informative, I think. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this content, you found what we've had to say helpful and would like to see more, by all means, click on my pixelated friend's face and subscribe to this channel for more. If you thought that this answered all your questions, give us a thumbs up. If you're still perplexed what's taking so long, give us a thumbs down. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. My name is JC. I assure you, it's been my pleasure.